right, first things first then, on the show today, let's bring on board the management of Meesho to talk a little bit more about their plans to enter the branded space with Meesho Mall. Also talk about the outlook on their GMVs, taking on the big giants like Flipkart and Amazon, and the road ahead when it comes to revenue growth and their operating metrics. We've got with us Dhiresh Bansal, who's the CFO at Meesho, now joining in. Dhiresh, pleasure to have you on ET now. Let's begin by discussing the venture into the branded space, the new offering, Meesho Mall. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, no, thank you, Avanne, for the question. And I think Meesho Mall is an initiative both for kind of growing our GMV and sale overall on the platform, as well as monetization. And I'll kind of walk through quickly the key reason behind it. So I think when we set up the platform and as we were growing our business, there was a lot of demand from our consumers for certain products which were branded, while the overall mainstay of the platform remains a marketplace for small and medium businesses to kind of succeed. But there was a lot of user first kind of insights that we could get where people were searching for branded products, especially in categories like beauty and personal care, footwear, some of the other adjacent categories, where even in the offline world, the branded consumption is higher. And that sort of user first insight led to us thinking about Meesho Mall as an initiative. And there we have seen, very good success over the last 9 to 12 months since we have kind of started working on this product and project. And what we do here is give users the assurance that these are authentic brand products sourced directly from the companies or their authorized distributors, and give that experience to the brands as well as their distributors as well, where they're able to directly tap into, let's say, the 140 million odd user base that we have, which is otherwise untapped for them. So it's a nice kind of mutual synergy between those two opportunities, and hence it's kind of leading to good conversion, order growth, etc. on the platform.
So tell us which brands exactly are collaborating?
Yeah, I think brands span across both sort of national brands, regional brands, D2C brands, etc. So if I have to pick some examples, in the case of beauty and personal care, it would include brands like Mamaearth, Wow Skin Sciences on the D2C side. On the national side, brands like Nivea, ITC, etc. Similarly, on footwear side, it would include brands, like Paragon, like Liberty, Bata, etc., which are, let's say, the mainstay of consumption for some of our, user base, and are now tapping the large kind of user opportunity that we have to reach out to them through online means.
Now, Dhiresh, given that you've been entrenched in this space for quite some time, what have been the consumer preferences in India? How have they evolved, say, post-pandemic, and what's it leaning toward right now?
Sure. So I think, like I said, there is a very inherent user behavior when it comes to things like, for instance, apparels. Users value assortment, variety, etc. much more, versus things like beauty and personal care, footwear, etc., where consumption of branded products is slightly higher. And there we see, for instance, now in a category like beauty and personal care, almost 20% of our overall GMV is already coming from branded products. In a category like footwear, for instance, that number is closer to 14-15%. So we are seeing this consumer behavior opportunity being tapped into, and it's largely sort of incremental. It's not substituting the unbranded sort of demand, but it's creating a new pool of latent demand, which used to exist. People used to search for and get no results of those products, are now able to kind of shop from them for them on the Meesho platform as well.
And given that the government has relaxed the GST rules for online sellers, you stand to benefit from the same. You're looking to add close to 1 crore merchants on the platform by 2027. Are you on track? And how has this move benefited Meesho?
Yeah, no, I think it's been a much awaited development. I think it was announced last year, and from what we hear, should get implemented by 1st of October. On our side, we are raring to go. We feel that this is an opportunity which will unlock a lot of suppliers who were hitherto sort of excluded from transacting on online commerce. And we are seeing that, in our data as well. For instance, even historically, what used to happen was when sellers come and try to register on the platform, the biggest drop-off point for sellers used to be the time when they were asked for their GST details. Almost 60 to 70% of the sellers trying to onboard used to kind of drop off at the GST point. And when we asked such sellers as to what their biggest pain point was, they said that they're small sellers. They don't want to get into the compliance headache of getting a GST, having a chartered accountant to kind of maintain all of their accounts, which we feel now with the initiative that the government has taken should solve this problem to a large extent. It'll still be, these sellers will still be allowed to sell only within their own states, but I think this is a very important first step. And hopefully over a period of time, they will be allowed to sell across the nation as well.
Right, and Dhiresh, given the fact that Meesho is the first e-commerce company in India to turn profitable at a group level, do you think that this momentum is going to continue and it's here to stay?
No, I think it was an important milestone in the life cycle of the company, and I think it certainly feels good to kind of achieve this milestone. I think from here on, some of the things that were already working will continue to generate more resources for us. So, for instance, our monetization or overall take rate of the platform continue to kind of go up as we unlock more and more opportunities where sellers take and avail certain value-added services from the platform and pay for that. The second thing which will continue is as we grow, economies of scale will continue to give us benefit. Our fixed costs remain fixed, but at a larger scale, it unlocks more profitability. And I think the point of view that we have is, given the size of market in India and the opportunity that lies before us, we will redeploy a large portion of the excess profitability that we generate back into growth and continue to sort of grow faster even from here. So that's the overall outlook. I think we'll continue to remain profitable, cash flow positive, and reinvest back some of those money back into increasing growth rate even further.
Right, and perhaps the USP for Meesho, or what really makes you stand out versus the others, would be the fact that there's zero commission on sellers, from sellers rather, on their sales, but you're charging for the likes of an advertisement or logistics, etc. Is that really, the key differentiating point according to you, and how exactly does it work?
Yeah, no, I think, and I'll answer this question maybe two ways, right? One is what's happening outside India. Are there platforms which are able to be profitable with this model? The answer is absolutely yes. If you look at Alibaba, which is the largest sort of Chinese e-commerce company, Pinduoduo, which is the third largest Chinese e-commerce company, some of the other examples like Mercado Libre in Latin America as well, large portions of their businesses are zero commission and sort of generate their revenues through ads, through kind of various seller services that they provide. And they are actually the most profitable e-commerce companies in the world. So, given the fact that we are also operating in this model, which is 100% marketplace-based, very asset-light, like we don't need to invest into logistics, warehouses, etc. of our own. We instead benefit from our partners' capacities that they have kind of built over a period of time. We feel that this model of zero commission, operating asset-light, monetizing through seller value-added services is going to be the most capital efficient model and will generate the most amount of returns for our shareholders. And we continue to believe in that.
And Dhiresh, walk us through the kind of growth that you've seen, in particular when it comes to the non-metros.
So I think if you look at the platform overall today, almost 80% plus of our business comes from, let's say, tier 2 and beyond cities. And that has been the case for now almost the last 2 years. So in a way, the density of our orders is broadly reflected in how the population is distributed across the country. And we continue to believe that there is more and more headroom in tier 2 and beyond cities because metro tier 1 customers generally have larger set of choices kind of available. And we'll continue to capture this opportunity in a big way. I think if you look at some of the statistics, in total in India, there are only about 200 million odd e-commerce transactors, whereas even the smartphone base of users is close to about 600 million users. And most of this 200 to 600 million gap exists in the non-metro cities. I think most of the metro cities adoption of e-commerce and smartphone adoption is pretty much at par. So this gap exists in this non-metro segment where we will expect to add most of our kind of user base in the coming sort of 3, 4, 5 years time as well. So it'll be, it'll continue to be as important as it has been for us. And we feel that we are uniquely positioned to capture market share in this segment.
So, Dhiresh, walk us through, the outlook in terms of what are the strategic measures that the company is looking in order to grow to get to that revenue target of about 10,000 crores by FY25. Are you on track?
Yeah, no, I think it's an achievable goal. I think we are currently maybe around 40-50% lower than that. So achieving that within the next 1.5 years, we feel is fairly par for the course. I think we expect both our order growth as well as overall monetization, which will continue to inch up to drive this revenue growth. I think we'll end this year, maybe about 30-40% shy of this target, which we expect to achieve in the next 1 year, given the growth tailwinds that we are seeing on both orders, things like Mall, for instance, which we spoke about, where we are seeing both, goodness from orders growing as well as monetization growing on the platform, and other new initiatives that we have kind of in plan for the next 12 to 18 months.
Are you looking at newer strategies and growth drivers, in particular acquiring new users, enhancing your value proposition? How do you plan to do so?
So I think if you look at the core growth levers for the business, those are two, right? We can either grow the base of users, and I wouldn't say and we can increase the categories or number of categories in which people transact. On both fronts, we will have growth levers across a number of years. So the first part I spoke about, which is on the user growth front, like I said, we're still about 140 million annual transacting users in an overall e-commerce base of about 200 million e-commerce transactors. As this number grows, our value proposition around pricing, the kind of assortment that we have, will resonate much better with the kind of folks who would come online now. And we have seen that historically in data as well, right? In the last 2 years, for instance, we've had close to 50% market share in new to e-commerce users. And we expect that to kind of continue going forward as well. The second aspect, which is around growing, let's say, the kind of categories our current users transact into, there we are continuing to improve our value proposition, be it around pricing, the quality of products, the kind of selection that is available in terms of width and depth as well. So all of those things feed into this, constant moving machine, which kind of helps us grow. And we've, again, over here as well, we've seen that kind of through data as well. Last 12 months, for instance, our non-fashion categories have grown by almost 120%. Whereas if you look at the platform overall, it has grown by about 40%. So we're seeing it becoming more and more horizontal over a period of time. And outside these two, then we layer on top other new things such as Mall, which will continue to kind of give us incremental growth beyond, the core two levers that we spoke about of user growth and category growth.
And, of course, there's a lot of competition. We can't deny that. And I understand that the likes of an Amazon or a Flipkart are actually, working overtime to really, try to get to your hold in the unbranded space in particular. How are you dealing with the competitive intensity and taking on these big giants?
So I think our approach, generally speaking, has been user first, where we try and solve problems which our consumers have been facing or sellers have been facing, right? So for instance, when we got to zero commission model, I think a lot of that insight had come back from the fact that sellers did not want to sell online because they were charged these high commissions, which did not make sense from a profitability point of view for them. And hence they kind of shied away from selling online, right? So we went and solved that problem by saying that, look, we will not charge commissions. We will only charge for the value that we'll add to your life, be it through ads, be it through logistics, etc. And that kind of led to unlocking this segment, so to say. Similarly, here, again, it's a consumer insight where we find that there are brands and companies which exist which want to tap into this, unique base of customers, non-metro, tier 2 and beyond customers, where we have the largest reach, and we are giving them that access. And for that access, one, our customers will get a better breadth of brands or companies that they can shop from. And similarly, brands, on the other hand, will get access to an untapped consumer base. In this mix now, where does competition fit in? I think, look, there will be competition. There has been competition for us. It exists both in the online ecosystem as well as the offline ecosystem. But hopefully, if our core value proposition around pricing, assortment, quality, all of those kind of remain good, and people will continue to shop from us.
So finally, I just want to understand what the outlook is in terms of the active transactions that you have. What are the monthly orders that you currently clock in?
Sure. I think over the last 12 months or so, I think we've done more than about 1 billion orders overall on the platform, close to 1.1 billion to be precise. Every month, we see close to about 40 million people or 4 crore people transact on the platform. On an annual basis, this number goes up to about 14 crores. We continued, I think, for last 2 years now, 2021 and 2022, we have been the most downloaded shopping app globally, not just in India. You pick Shein, Shopee, Amazon, in all of their markets put together. We've had more number of downloads of the Meesho app. We were the fastest one to cross 500 million downloads very recently, as well, amongst the shopping apps. So I think a lot of positive that we are seeing on that front, and we hope to kind of continue to capture that opportunity going forward as well.
Well, good to know. It's been a pleasure interacting with you. Thank you so much for taking time out and being with us on ET Now.